The Cosmic Beacon, humanity's first interstellar message. In the year 2045, Dr. Samantha Chen stood before a panel of skeptical scientists and government officials, her heart racing with a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The holographic display behind her flickered to life, revealing a complex schematic of what she dubbed the Cosmic Beacon Project. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady despite her nerves, "what you see before you is not just a communication device. It's humanity's ticket to the stars." The room fell silent as Dr. Chen launched into her presentation. She explained how her team had developed a revolutionary quantum entanglement amplifier capable of transmitting data across vast cosmic distances instantaneously. It was a leap beyond anything previously thought possible, making light-speed communication seem glacial by comparison. "With this technology," she continued, her eyes gleaming with passion, "we can reach out to the farthest corners of our galaxy. We can announce our presence to any civilizations that might be listening." The questions came fast and furious. How could they be sure it was safe? What if they attracted hostile aliens? Wasn't this a violation of the Great Silence theory that had kept humanity cautious for so long? Dr. Chen had anticipated these concerns. "I understand your reservations," she said, her tone measured but firm. "But we cannot let fear hold us back. The universe is vast and full of wonders. It's time we took our place among the stars." Despite the initial skepticism, Dr. Chen's passion and the potential of her project won over the committee. 6 months later, construction began on a massive array of quantum entanglement amplifiers in the Atacama Desert of Chile. As the project neared completion, excitement grew worldwide. News outlets buzzed with speculation about what messages Earth should send to potential alien civilizations. Should they be mathematical sequences proving our intelligence, cultural artifacts showcasing our creativity, or simple greetings in multiple languages? In the end, Dr. Chen and her team decided on a multifaceted approach. The first transmission would include prime number sequences, simple pictograms explaining Earth's location in the galaxy, and greetings in the 100 most spoken languages on Earth. On the day of the first transmission, July 4, 2047, the world held its collective breath. Dr. Chen stood before the main control panel, her finger hovering over the activation switch. With a deep breath and a silent prayer, she pressed the button. The quantum entanglement amplifiers hummed to life, their energy readings spiking on the monitors. As the transmission began, cheers erupted from the control room. Humanity had taken its first step into the cosmic community. Weeks passed with no response, but Dr. Chen remained optimistic. She knew that even with instantaneous transmission, the vastness of space meant it could take years before they received a reply, if they ever did. But fate had other plans. Just 3 months after the first transmission, on a quiet Tuesday afternoon, the Cosmic Beacon's receivers suddenly sprang to life. Dr. Chen was in her office when the alarm sounded. She sprinted to the control room, her heart pounding. The screens were alive with incoming data, patterns unlike anything they had anticipated. As the team scrambled to decode the message, a chill ran down Dr. Chen's spine. This wasn't just a response. It was a desperate plea for help. The message, once decoded, was brief but chilling. "We hear you, Earth. We are the Zephyrians. Our civilization is under attack. Please, if you can, help us." Dr. Chen stared at the screen, her mind reeling. They had hoped to make contact, to exchange knowledge and culture. Instead, they had stumbled upon a cosmic crisis. As the implications of the message sank in, she realized that humanity's first step into the galactic community would be far more dramatic and dangerous than anyone could have imagined. The news of the alien distress call spread like wildfire. Governments convened emergency sessions, religious leaders sought to calm their followers, and the public oscillated between excitement and terror. The question on everyone's lips was the same. What should Earth do? Dr. Chen found herself at the center of a global storm. She was called to testify before the United Nations, explaining the message and the technology that had received it. "We have a moral obligation to respond," she argued passionately. "We can't simply ignore a cry for help, even if it comes from across the stars." But not everyone agreed. Some argued that Earth should stay out of an alien conflict, focusing instead on its own problems. Others saw it as an opportunity to advance human technology and establish Earth as a galactic power. As debates raged, Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly to establish a more robust communication channel with the Zephyrians. Slowly, more details emerged. The Zephyrians were a peaceful, technologically advanced species from a planet about 50 light-years from Earth. They had been exploring the galaxy using automated probes when they accidentally awakened an ancient, dormant threat. A swarm of self-replicating machines they called the Harvesters. The Harvesters, it seemed, were remnants of a long-dead civilization, programmed to consume resources and replicate endlessly. They had been dormant for millennia, but the Zephyrian probes had triggered their activation protocols. Now, they were steadily making their way towards the Zephyrian homeworld, consuming everything in their path. As the full scale of the threat became clear, Earth's leaders realized they couldn't stand idly by. If the Harvesters consumed the Zephyrians, what was to stop them from eventually finding Earth? A decision was made. Humanity would help. But how? Earth had no faster-than-light travel, no weapons capable of fighting an interstellar threat. It seemed an impossible task. That's when Dr. Elena Rodriguez, a brilliant aerospace engineer, stepped forward with an audacious plan. "We may not have FTL travel," she announced in a global broadcast, "but we have something the Zephyrians need desperately: time. Time to prepare, time to evacuate if necessary. And we can give them that time with Project Starforge." Project Starforge, as Dr. Rodriguez explained, would be the most ambitious engineering project in human history. Using the quantum entanglement technology developed for the cosmic beacon, they would build a massive automated shipyard in orbit around Earth. This shipyard would construct a warship unlike anything humanity had ever conceived, a vessel capable of making the journey to Zephyria and standing against the Harvester threat. The project would require global cooperation on an unprecedented scale. Every nation, every corporation, every scientific institution would need to contribute. It would strain Earth's resources to the breaking point, but it was a chance not just to save an alien civilization, but to catapult humanity into a new era of technological advancement. As part one of our story drew to a close, the people of Earth stood at a crossroads. The decision to build the Starforge and send aid to Zephyria would shape the future of humanity for generations to come. The road ahead would be long and fraught with challenges, but for the first time in history, the people of Earth were united in a common cosmic purpose. Dr. Chen, watching the sun set over the Atacama Desert, felt a mixture of pride and apprehension. The cosmic beacon had worked beyond her wildest dreams, but it had also thrust humanity into a dangerous, exciting new frontier. As she gazed at the stars beginning to appear in the darkening sky, she wondered what other wonders and terrors awaited them in the vast expanse of space. The stage was set for humanity's greatest adventure. Project Starforge was about to begin, and with it, a new chapter in the history of Earth and the galaxy itself. An unexpected reply. The Zephyrians' desperate call. As Project Starforge began to take shape, Dr. Samantha Chen and her team worked tirelessly to maintain and improve communication with the Zephyrians. The quantum entanglement technology that had seemed so revolutionary just months ago was now their lifeline to a distant, endangered civilization. In the orbital command center above Earth, Dr. Chen pored over the latest transmissions from Zephyria. The more they learned about their new alien allies, the more fascinating and dire their situation became. "They're not so different from us," Dr. Chen mused to her colleague, Dr. Raj Patel, as they reviewed holographic representations of Zephyrian physiology. The aliens were roughly humanoid, with iridescent skin that seemed to shimmer with bioluminescence. Their large, multifaceted eyes gave them exceptional vision, across a wide spectrum of light. Except they're about 1,000 years ahead of us technologically, Raj pointed out. Or at least, they were before the harvesters arrived. The Zephyrians had shared details of their civilization's history, a story of rapid technological advancement, peaceful exploration, and harmonious coexistence with their environment. They had spread across their solar system, establishing colonies and research stations on dozens of worlds and moons. But their golden age had come to an abrupt end when their deep space probes encountered the dormant harvesters. The probe's attempts to study these strange machines had triggered an ancient failsafe, awakening the swarm. Now, the harvesters were steadily making their way through Zephyrian space, consuming everything in their path. Colonies had fallen, fleets had been decimated, and the Zephyrian homeworld was preparing for what seemed like an inevitable siege. "We've received another data packet," announced Lisa Wong, the team's communications specialist. Her fingers danced across the holographic interface, decoding the transmission. It's the schematics for their defensive systems." Dr. Chen's eyes widened. This was unprecedented. The Zephyrians were entrusting humanity with their most advanced military technology. It was a gesture of trust and desperation. As they examined the schematics, the Earth scientists were awestruck. The Zephyrian defenses were far beyond anything humanity had ever conceived. Energy shields capable of deflecting asteroid impacts, weapons that could destabilize matter at the subatomic level, and sensor arrays that could detect the slightest disturbance in spacetime. If these defenses are so advanced, Raj wondered aloud, how are the harvesters overwhelming them? The answer came in the next transmission. The harvesters, it seemed, operated on a principle of relentless adaptation. Each encounter with Zephyrian defenses provided them with new data, which they used to evolve and improve their own systems. What's more, they could communicate these improvements instantly across their entire swarm, making them a constantly evolving, learning adversary. It's like fighting a virus that becomes immune to every treatment you throw at it, Dr. Chen realized. No wonder the Zephyrians are so desperate. But amid the grim news, there was a glimmer of hope. The Zephyrians had noticed something peculiar about Earth's quantum entanglement technology, something they believed could be the key to defeating the harvesters. The instantaneous nature of the quantum communication seemed to confuse the harvesters' sensors. It was as if the signal simply didn't exist from the harvesters' perspective. This quirk of physics, the Zephyrians theorized, could be weaponized. If we could adapt this technology into a cloaking system, Lisa explained, her voice rising with excitement, we might be able to approach the harvesters undetected. We could strike at their core systems before they have a chance to adapt. The implications were staggering. Earth's seemingly primitive technology might hold the key to saving an advanced alien civilization. But there was a catch. The system would need to be deployed from within the heart of harvester-controlled space. We'd need to get our ship past their outer defenses, Raj said, his face grim. It would be a one-way trip for whoever goes. A heavy silence fell over the command center. The stakes of their mission had just become painfully clear. Project Starforge wasn't just about building a ship anymore. It was about mounting a desperate, likely suicidal mission into the heart of enemy territory. As if on cue, alarms began blaring throughout the station. Lisa's hands flew across her console. We're receiving a priority transmission from Zephyria, she announced, her voice tight with tension. Oh no. The main screen flickered to life, showing a scene of chaos. The transmission was coming from what appeared to be a Zephyrian command center, but it was filled with smoke and flashing emergency lights. A Zephyrian official, his iridescent skin dulled with fatigue and stress, spoke urgently. "Greetings, people of Earth," the alien said, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the flashing lights. "We regret to inform you that the Harvester Vanguard has breached our outer system defenses. They will reach our homeworld in a matter of weeks. We are initiating our final evacuation protocols, but we fear it may be too late for many of our people." The Zephyrian paused, composing itself. "We understand that your Starforge project is still in its early stages. We do not expect miracles. But if there is anything you can do to expedite your aid, we implore you to do so. The fate of our civilization, and perhaps yours as well, may depend on it. The transmission cut out abruptly, leaving the Earth Command Center in stunned silence. Dr. Chen felt the weight of an entire alien civilization settling onto her shoulders. She turned to her team, her face set with determination. "We need to speak with the Starforge team immediately," she said, her voice steady despite the turmoil in her heart. "Every second counts now. We may be the Zephyrians' last hope." As the team scrambled to establish a link with the Starforge construction site, Dr. Chen couldn't help but marvel at the bizarre turn of events. Just months ago, humanity had been alone in the universe, limited to its own solar system. Now, they were the potential saviors of an advanced alien civilization. The quantum entanglement device hummed to life, projecting a holographic image of Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the chief engineer of Project Starforge. Her face was etched with fatigue, but her eyes burned with the same determination that Dr. Chen felt. "We received the transmission," Dr. Rodriguez said without preamble. "We're already pushing the construction teams to their limits, but we might have a way to speed things up even more." She gestured, and a new schematic appeared in the air between them. It showed the Starforge, but with significant modifications. "We've been studying the Zephyrian schematics," Dr. Rodriguez explained. "If we incorporate some of their nanofabrication technology into our construction process, we might be able to cut our timeline in half." "That's still not fast enough," Dr. Chen said, her mind racing. "The harvesters will reach Zephyria in weeks, not months." Dr. Rodriguez nodded grimly. "I know. That's why we're proposing something radical." She took a deep breath. "We want to launch the ship before it's fully complete." A chorus of protests erupted from the assembled scientists, but Dr. Rodriguez held up her hand. "Hear me out. We can complete the essential systems: propulsion, life support, the quantum cloaking device, and launch with a skeleton crew. We'll finish construction en route to Zephyria." It was an audacious plan, fraught with danger. But as Dr. Chen looked around at her team, she saw the same realization dawning in their eyes. This was their only chance. "We'll need volunteers," Dr. Chen said softly. "A crew willing to embark on a mission they might not return from." To her surprise, Raj stepped forward immediately. "I'll go," he said, his voice firm. "My expertise in xenobiology could be crucial for understanding the harvesters." One by one, others volunteered. Lisa, to manage communications, Dr. Rodriguez herself, to oversee the ship's continued construction, and a host of engineers, soldiers, and scientists, each bringing vital skills to the mission. Dr. Chen felt a swell of pride in her fellow humans. Faced with unimaginable danger and an alien threat, they were stepping up, ready to risk everything to save a civilization they had never even seen. As the meeting adjourned and preparations for the early launch began in earnest, Dr. Chen found herself alone in the command center. She stared out at the Earth below, beautiful and fragile in the vast darkness of space. "We're coming, Zephyria," she whispered to the stars. "Hold on just a little longer." With renewed determination, she turned back to her console. There was work to be done, a ship to launch, and a galaxy to save. Humanity's greatest adventure was about to begin. Project Starforge, building Earth's first interstellar warship. The next few weeks were a blur of frenetic activity as humanity raced against time to complete the Starforge and launch their interstellar warship. The orbital shipyard, a massive structure of gleaming metal and pulsing energy fields, had become the focal point of Earth's hopes and dreams. Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood in the command center of the Starforge, her eyes darting between dozens of holographic displays showing the progress of various systems. The ship taking shape before them was unlike anything humanity had ever built before, a fusion of Earth's ingenuity and Zephyrian technology. "Status report," she barked, her voice tight with the strain of sleepless nights and constant pressure. Her second in command, Major David Chen, No relation to Dr. Samantha Chen, responded promptly. Hull integrity at 82%, Doctor. Quantum drive is online but still untested. Life support systems are green across the board. Weapons systems, well, they're a work in progress. Elena nodded, her mind already racing to the next set of problems to solve. The ship, christened the ESS Prometheus, was a marvel of engineering, but it was far from complete. They were building the proverbial airplane while flying it, and the stakes couldn't be higher. "What's the status on the quantum cloaking device?" she asked, turning to Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the brilliant physicist who had been working tirelessly to adapt Earth's quantum entanglement technology into a weapon against the harvesters. Yuki's hologram flickered to life, her face drawn with exhaustion, but her eyes bright with excitement. "We've made a breakthrough, Elena. We've managed to create a stable quantum field that can envelop the entire ship. In theory, it should make us completely undetectable to the harvester sensors." "In theory," Elena repeated, a wry smile tugging at her lips. Everything about this mission was theoretical. They were pushing the boundaries of known science, relying on untested technologies, and the desperate hope that they could save an alien civilization. A sudden alarm blared through the command center, causing everyone to freeze. Major Chen's fingers flew across his console. "We're receiving a priority transmission from Zephyria," he announced, his voice grim. The main screen flickered to life, showing the now familiar face of the Zephyrian leader, Commander Zalthran. The alien's iridescent skin was dull with fatigue, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the chaos of a civilization under siege. "Greetings, people of Earth," Zalthran began, its voice filled with a mixture of hope and desperation. "We bring grave news. The harvester swarm has accelerated its advance. Our outer colonies have fallen, and our home system's defenses are crumbling. We estimate that our homeworld has less than 2 weeks before the harvesters arrive." A stunned silence fell over the command center. 2 weeks. It wasn't enough time. The Prometheus was barely half finished, its systems untested, its crew still in training. But Zalthran wasn't finished. "We have made a decision," the alien continued, its voice steadying with resolve. "We are transmitting the sum total of our civilization's knowledge to you. Our history, our science, our art, everything we are, we entrust to you, people of Earth. If we fall, our legacy will live on through you." As the transmission ended, Elena felt the weight of an entire civilization settling onto her shoulders. She looked around at her team, seeing the same mix of determination and fear in their eyes that she felt in her heart. "We can't wait any longer," she said, her voice cutting through the silence. "We launch in 24 hours. The next day was a whirlwind of final preparations. Systems were brought online. Supplies were loaded, and the volunteer crew, a mix of Earth's finest scientists, engineers, and soldiers, said their goodbyes to loved ones they might never see again. Dr. Samantha Chen, the woman whose cosmic beacon had started this incredible journey, stood before the assembled crew in the Prometheus's main hangar. Her eyes shone with unshed tears as she looked at the brave men and women preparing to embark on humanity's greatest adventure. "You carry with you the hopes of not one, but 2 civilizations," she said, her voice echoing through the cavernous space. "What you're about to do, it's more than heroic. It's historic. No matter what happens out there, know that Earth stands with you. All of humanity stands with you." As the crew boarded the ship, Elena took one last look at the Earth shining blue and beautiful below them. She thought of all they were leaving behind, and all they were fighting to protect. The Prometheus disengaged from the Starforge with a series of metallic clangs that reverberated through the ship's hull. As they cleared the orbital shipyard, Elena gave the order they had all been waiting for: engage quantum drive. The ship's revolutionary propulsion system hummed to life, creating a bubble of distorted space-time around the vessel. Stars outside the viewports began to stretch into lines of light, and with a flash that momentarily outshone the sun, the Prometheus vanished from Earth's sky. Their journey to Zephyria had begun. But as the Prometheus hurtled through the void between stars, its crew knew that the real challenges and dangers lay ahead. Inside the ship, work continued at a feverish pace. Engineers raced to complete unfinished systems, scientists pored over the vast archive of Zephyrian knowledge, and the military contingent ran endless simulations, preparing for a confrontation with an enemy they had never seen. Dr. Raj Patel found himself in the unenviable position of trying to understand the biology of the harvesters based on fragmented Zephyrian reports. "They're not just machines," he explained during one of the daily briefings. "They're a hybrid of organic and synthetic components. They can adapt, evolve, and reproduce." The implications were chilling. The harvesters weren't just a swarm of robots. They were a rapidly evolving artificial ecosystem, driven by an imperative to consume and expand. Meanwhile, Dr. Yuki Tanaka worked tirelessly to refine the quantum cloaking device. "The theory is sound," she insisted, her hologram flickering with fatigue. "But we won't know if it truly works until we're face to face with the harvesters." As the days passed and the Prometheus drew closer to Zephyrian space, tension aboard the ship mounted. They were racing not just against the harvesters, but against their own unfinished systems and untested technologies. 2 days out from Zephyria, disaster struck. A power surge in the quantum drive caused a cascade failure throughout the ship's systems. Alarms blared as the Prometheus dropped out of faster-than-light travel, drifting powerless in the void between stars. Elena found herself in the engine room, knee-deep in coolant fluid, working alongside her engineering team to bring the quantum drive back online. It was a stark reminder of just how experimental their mission was, and how far from home they had come. As they worked, Elena couldn't help but think of the Zephyrians, their homeworld now mere days away from annihilation. Every second of delay could mean millions more lives lost. The weight of that responsibility threatened to crush her. But as she looked around at her team, humans from every corner of Earth, working together with single-minded purpose, she felt a surge of pride and determination. They had come too far to fail now. With a series of sparks and a low hum that built to a roar, the quantum drive came back online. A cheer went up throughout the ship as they resumed their journey, battered but unbroken. As they approached the outskirts of Zephyrian space, the crew of the Prometheus got their first real glimpse of the enemy they had come so far to face. Long-range sensors picked up the harvester swarm, a vast cloud of metallic shapes stretching across an entire star system. On the main view screen, they watched in horror as a harvester ship, if it could be called a ship, consumed an entire asteroid, breaking it down into raw materials and using them to spawn more of its kind. "My God," whispered Major Chen, his face pale. "How do we fight something like that?" Elena stared at the screen, her mind racing. They were outnumbered, outgunned, and facing an enemy that could adapt to any strategy they might employ. But they had come too far to turn back now. "We fight smart," she said, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. "We use every advantage we have. Our quantum cloaking, our Zephyrian tech, and most importantly, our human ingenuity." She turned to face her crew, seeing the same mix of fear and determination in their eyes that she felt in her heart. "We may be mankind's first interstellar mission," she said, her voice rising with conviction, "but we're also Zephyria's last hope, and we will not let them down." As the Prometheus engaged its cloaking device and slipped undetected into harvester-controlled space, Elena knew that the real battle was just beginning. They were about to make their stand, not just for Zephyria, but for the future of 2 civilizations and perhaps the entire galaxy. The fate of worlds now rested in their hands. Voyage to Zephyria, crossing the cosmic divide. The Prometheus glided silently through the star-studded void, its quantum cloaking device rendering it invisible to both conventional sensors and the bizarre hybrid technology of the harvesters. On the bridge, Dr. Elena Rodriguez stood before the main view screen, her face illuminated by the eerie glow of a distant nebula. "Status report," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. Even though logic told her the harvesters couldn't hear them, the proximity of the enemy swarm had everyone on edge. Major David Chen responded from his station, his voice equally hushed. "Cloaking device is holding steady, Doctor. We're approaching the outer edges of the Zephyrian home system. No sign that the harvesters have detected us. Yet." Elena nodded, allowing herself a moment of relief. Their gamble with the untested cloaking technology seemed to be paying off. But they all knew the real test was yet to come. As they entered the Zephyrian system, the true scale of the devastation wrought by the harvesters became apparent. The outer planets, once home to thriving Zephyrian colonies, were now lifeless husks, their surfaces scarred by the harvesters' relentless consumption. Dr. Raj Patel's voice came over the comm, tight with emotion. "I'm picking up residual biosignatures. It looks like some of the Zephyrians might have survived on the moons of the gas giants. They're hiding, but they're alive." A mixture of hope and sorrow swept through the bridge. They had arrived in time to save some Zephyrians, but how many had already been lost? As they approached Zephyria Prime, the Zephyrian homeworld, the situation became even more dire. The once beautiful blue-green planet was surrounded by a swarm of harvester ships, like locusts preparing to descend on a fertile field. "My God," breathed Lisa Wong from her communications station. "There must be millions of them." Elena steeled herself. This was the moment they had prepared for, the crucible that would determine the fate of not one, but two civilizations. "Open a secure channel to Zephyrian High Command," she ordered. "It's time to coordinate our attack." The view screen flickered to life, revealing the familiar face of Commander Zalthran. The Zephyrian leader looked haggard, its iridescent skin dulled with exhaustion, but its multifaceted eyes lit up with hope at the sight of the human crew. "People of Earth," Zalthran said, its voice filled with emotion. "You came. We had almost lost hope." Elena stepped forward. "We made a promise, Commander. We're here to help. What's your situation?" Zalthran's expression grew grim. "Our orbital defenses are failing. We've evacuated as many of our people as we could to underground shelters. But..." The alien paused, composing itself. "We estimate we have less than 48 hours before the harvesters breach our final defenses." Elena nodded, her mind already racing through potential strategies. "We have a plan, Commander, but we'll need your help to pull it off." Over the next hour, Elena and her team outlined their daring strategy. The Prometheus, using its quantum cloaking device, would penetrate deep into the heart of the harvester swarm. Once there, they would deploy a series of quantum-entangled bombs, a technology that merged Earth's quantum communications with Zephyrian weaponry. The bombs will create a cascading reaction through the harvester swarm, Dr. Yuki Tanaka explained, her hologram flickering beside Elena. It should disrupt their ability to communicate and adapt. In theory, it could shut down the entire swarm at once. "In theory," Zalthran repeated, echoing Elena's earlier skepticism. But the Zephyrian commander's eyes shone with renewed determination. "It's a bold plan. We'll do whatever we can to support you." As the meeting concluded, Elena turned to her crew. She saw the weight of their responsibility etched on every face, but also the unwavering resolve to see this through. "This is it," she said softly. "Everything we've worked for, everything we've sacrificed. It all comes down to this moment. Let's make Earth proud. Let's make Zephyria proud." The Prometheus disengaged from its holding position and began its perilous journey into the heart of the harvester swarm. As they penetrated deeper into enemy territory, the tension on the bridge was palpable. Every creak of the hull, every fluctuation in the cloaking field sent hearts racing. Through the view screen, they watched in horrified fascination as the harvesters went about their grim work. Massive ships broke down asteroids and space debris, their nanobots swarming over the raw materials and reshaping them into more harvesters. It was consumption and reproduction on a cosmic scale, a perversion of the natural order that sent chills down Elena's spine. As they neared their target point, a nexus of harvester activity that their Zephyrian allies had identified as crucial to the swarm's coordination. Disaster struck. A sudden surge in the quantum drive caused a momentary flicker in their cloaking field. For less than a second, the Prometheus became visible to the swarm. Alarms blared throughout the ship as the harvesters reacted with terrifying speed. Within moments, they were surrounded, the swarm closing in like the jaws of some cosmic predator. Evasive maneuvers, Elena shouted, gripping her command chair as the ship lurched beneath her. Yuki, get that cloak back online. Weapons, prepare to deploy the quantum bombs. The Prometheus danced through space, its human pilots pushing the ship to its limits as they dodged grasping tendrils of nanobots and energy beams that could slice through their hull like paper. The ship shuddered under near misses and glancing blows, but held together through sheer human determination and engineering ingenuity. In the chaos of battle, Elena saw their carefully laid plans crumbling. They were supposed to deploy the bombs at the heart of the swarm, maximizing the cascade effect. Now they'd be lucky to get off a single shot before being overwhelmed. That's when inspiration struck. "Raj," she called out, "you said the harvesters communicate instantly across their entire swarm, right? Like some kind of quantum entanglement." Dr. Patel looked up from his station, his eyes widening as he grasped her idea. "Yes, their entire network is entangled. It's how they adapt so quickly." Elena's mind raced. "Then we don't need to hit their nexus. We just need to hit them. Anywhere. The quantum cascade will do the rest." She turned to her weapons officer. "Deploy the bombs. All of them. Now." The Prometheus shuddered as it released its payload, a swarm of small, unassuming devices that quickly disappeared into the mass of harvester ships surrounding them. For a moment, nothing happened. Elena held her breath, wondering if their desperate gamble had failed. Then, like silent fireworks, the quantum bombs detonated. There was no explosion, no dramatic burst of light or energy. Instead, a wave of nothingness spread out from each bomb. Where it touched the harvesters, they simply stopped. Ships hung motionless in space, their lights flickering out, their endless consumption finally halted. The effect spread with impossible speed, racing out across the entire swarm. Within seconds, the space around Zephyria was filled with inert harvester ships, their threat neutralized in one brilliant stroke. On the bridge of the Prometheus, a stunned silence fell. They had done it. Against all odds, they had saved Zephyria. As the realization of their victory sank in, cheers erupted throughout the ship. Elena found herself swept up in a tide of jubilant crew members, all thoughts of military decorum forgotten in the euphoria of the moment. But even as they celebrated, Elena's mind turned to the future. They had won this battle, but the war was far from over. The harvesters were stopped for now, but for how long? And what other threats might be lurking in the vast, unknown reaches of the galaxy? As the Prometheus limped towards Zephyria Prime, battered but unbroken, Elena knew that this was not an end, but a beginning. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, forging an alliance with the Zephyrians that would shape the destiny of both their species. The journey home would be long, and the challenges ahead were daunting. But as Elena looked at her crew, humans who had traveled across the stars to save an alien civilization, she felt a surge of pride and hope. Whatever the universe might throw at them, she knew that together they could face it. The age of Earth's isolation was over. The era of interstellar cooperation had begun, and Elena Rodriguez, along with her intrepid crew, would be at the forefront of this new cosmic frontier. The battle for Zephyria, humanity's finest hour. As the Prometheus approached Zephyria Prime, the true scale of their victory became apparent. The once threatening swarm of harvester ships now drifted lifelessly in space, transformed from a terrifying armada into a field of metallic debris. But the crew of Earth's first interstellar warship knew their work was far from over. "We're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface," Lisa Wong announced, her voice tight with anticipation. "It's Commander Zalthran." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing the Zephyrian leader. Zalthran's iridescent skin glowed with renewed vigor, its multifaceted eyes shimmering with what the human crew now recognized as tears of joy. "People of Earth," Zalthran began, its voice trembling with emotion, "you have done the impossible. You have saved our world, our people, our very existence. We owe you a debt that can never be repaid." Elena stepped forward, her own eyes misting over. "We came as allies, Commander. Your fight was our fight. But our work isn't finished yet." Indeed, as the Prometheus entered Zephyr's atmosphere, they saw the extent of the damage wrought by the harvesters. Great swathes of the planet's surface were scarred, its once gleaming cities reduced to rubble. Millions of Zephyrians had survived in underground shelters, but they were emerging to a world forever changed. Over the next few weeks, the crew of the Prometheus worked tirelessly alongside their Zephyrian allies. Dr. Raj Patel led teams to treat the injured and ill, marveling at the resilience of Zephyrian physiology even as he pushed the boundaries of his xenobiological knowledge. Dr. Yuki Tanaka collaborated with Zephyrian scientists to adapt the quantum bomb technology into a planetary defense system, ensuring that any future harvester incursions could be swiftly neutralized. But it was Dr. Elena Rodriguez who faced perhaps the greatest challenge. As the leader of Earth's expedition, she found herself at the center of diplomatic negotiations that would shape the future of both their civilizations. "We stand at a crossroads," she said during a joint session of Earth's United Nations and the Zephyrian High Council, her words broadcast to billions on both planets. "We have faced an enemy that threatened not just our individual worlds, but the very concept of life as we know it. In coming together, we have proven that our strength lies in our unity, in our diversity, in our shared determination to forge a better future." Her impassioned speech laid the groundwork for what would become known as the Terran-Zephyrian Alliance, a pact that would revolutionize both societies. The exchange of knowledge and technology accelerated scientific progress on both worlds at an unprecedented rate. Zephyrian terraforming techniques would soon transform Mars into a second home for humanity, while Earth's quantum communications technology would form the basis of a new galaxy-spanning network. But even as they celebrated their victory in newfound alliance, a sobering realization settled over both species. The harvesters, though defeated, had been merely one threat in a vast and largely unknown galaxy. Who knew what other dangers, or wonders, awaited them in the cosmic depths? This realization led to the formation of the Interstellar Exploration and Defense Force, IEDF, a joint Terran-Zephyrian initiative. The Prometheus, refitted and improved with the best technology both worlds had to offer, would serve as the flagship of this new fleet. As Elena stood on the bridge of the newly christened IEDF Prometheus, preparing to embark on their first official mission of exploration, she couldn't help but reflect on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. From the first tentative signal sent by the cosmic beacon to the desperate battle against the harvesters, every step had been a leap into the unknown. "Captain Rodriguez," Major Chen called from his station, interrupting her reverie. "All systems are green. We're ready for quantum jump on your command." Elena looked around at her crew, a mix of humans and Zephyrians, each bringing their own unique skills and perspectives to their shared mission. She thought of Dr. Samantha Chen, whose vision had started this all, now leading a new era of scientific cooperation back on Earth. She thought of the billions on both their worlds, looking to the stars with newfound hope and wonder. "Well then, Major," she said, a smile playing at her lips, "let's see what's out there. Engage quantum drive." The Prometheus shimmered and stretched, the stars outside its viewports blurring into streaks of light. In a flash brighter than a newborn sun, the ship vanished into the quantum slipstream, carrying with it the hopes and dreams of two civilizations united in their quest to explore the universe. As they hurtled towards the unknown, Elena felt a profound sense of purpose. They had faced the darkness and emerged stronger, not just as individual species, but as partners in a grand cosmic adventure. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever wonders or terrors the universe held in store, they would face them together. The battle for Zephyria had indeed been humanity's finest hour, not just because of their victory, but because it had shown them the true strength that comes from unity, compassion, and the unwavering determination to forge a better future for all. As the Prometheus raced between the stars, Alina knew that this was not the end of their story, but merely the beginning of a new chapter. The universe was vast and full of mysteries, and they were now part of something greater than themselves. A united front of sentient beings, reaching out to touch the very fabric of creation. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain: the legacy of the Prometheus, of the unlikely alliance between Earth and Zephyria, would echo across the cosmos for eons to come. And somewhere out there, in the infinite expanse of space, new adventures, new challenges, and new possibilities awaited. The journey had only just begun.